Hey there, this is the Penny on Your Thoughts podcast, and I am your host, Penny Chason. I'm a board-certified hypnotist, intuitive, and experiencer. This podcast is about tapping into your subconscious to create a more aligned and abundant life. By leveraging our subconscious, we can master our thoughts, frequency, and vibration. Fusing the conscious, subconscious, and our consciousness is the science of expansion and soul satisfaction. Each week, I'll share in-depth interviews or solo episodes. This podcast was created to share how you have the power to create infinite potential within you. It's my intention that you find this podcast empowering, inspiring, and full of possibility. Now grab your favorite beverage and let's go. Hey, everybody, it's Penny back with another episode of Penny on Your Thoughts. And today's episode is actually a throwback episode to an interview I did a little over 2 years ago that is very relevant to today. My guest is Tina Madsen, and she's an ADHD life coach and a hypnotist, and we talk about her journey of 20 years of self-development and discovering who she is, what makes her tick, and her diagnosis of ADHD. Then we go on to how she has managed to reframe how she looks at that diagnosis and what she has done to feel fulfilled in her purpose in life and to just really go into that state of self-acceptance. A part of that process was training to become a hypnotist. Many people do it as a part of their self-development journey, to have a deeper experience and a deeper understanding of themselves. If you've ever been curious about the depths of the subconscious mind and how we create the associations and the perceptions that we do that can lead to limiting beliefs or even emotions that get stuck and it seems like we can't shift them or move them, then I want you to know that I have put hypnosis certification trainings back on the books for 2024. As a matter of fact, February is open for registration. There's a great deal of interest around it, and there are limited spots. So if this is something that you're interested in, I want you to click the link in the show notes or go to pennychason.com/certify me and click that link. Go check it out, and you can always message me, or if you're on my mailing list, email me with any questions. I'm always happy to answer any that you have. Without further ado, here we go with the interview with Tina Madsen. I have a special guest, and she's not just a guest, she's become a friend, and I can't wait for her to share her story with you. So who I have with me today is Tina, and Tina is an ADHD life coach. She's a certified hypnotist, but here's the kicker. She used to be a competitive athlete. She's a seamstress. She actually told me that for most of her life, she's been really, really good at a lot of things, but not masterful at any of them. She called herself a jack of all trades, which I think that resonates with most of us. Like we move through life and we're looking for what lights us up and for what's our passion. But she has been on a journey the last 20 years of personal self-development, and we connected through a very beneficial program, which you've heard me talk about before, TCP. We're going to talk a little bit about that and talk about her story, because her transformation in the last 6 months specifically has just been crazy wild, and we're excited to share it with you. Welcome, Tina. Thank you for coming on Design Your Destiny.
Hi, Penny. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with you, and I'm honored. I have so much respect and admiration for you, and I'm so grateful. You were my hypnosis mentor. You taught me everything that I know, and as a result, you changed my life. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And it's something, not to downplay it, but it's what I do. It's what I'm here to do. And I love it. And, you and I, but before we started the recording, we were just going to chat for like 5 minutes and kind of get a feel for where this was going to go. And 30 freaking minutes passed, right? Because we get so excited and so passionate about this. It just absolutely went wild. So I would love for you to share with the listeners where did you start with all of this, because you talk about like you've been on a journey of 20 years of personal development, and how within your business and your personal life there was something that needed to change. I'll let you tell that story.
Yeah, I'd been on a journey of self-development for 20 years. And the best way to summarize it would be, I'm trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And 6, 7 years ago, I received an ADHD diagnosis, and that rocked my world, but it also made so much sense. And so I started just seeking out different ways to navigate my world through this new uncharted territory. And, it caused me to delve a little bit deeper. And that's when I ended up becoming an ADHD coach. But then what really transformed, specifically in the last 6 months, was, bringing the hypnosis piece into it. I'd been exploring hypnosis and self-hypnosis for about a year and a half. I was introduced to it through TCP, Jim Fortin's program, which was amazing. I have so much gratitude for that program, but it truly was stepping into hypnosis, becoming certified. And that's what really allowed me to unlock all of my potential to where I am today. So,
Yeah, I just can't say enough about the impact that Jim Fortin has had on my life and my business, because his biggest theme is, if you're in business, your business is a reflection of you. So until you straighten out your own inner
yeah.
ish, um, that's not going to follow.
Yeah.
And the things that I learned in that program, I have integrated that within my hypnosis practice. And I don't even call what I do hypnosis anymore. I call it insight alignment transformation methodology, because there's more to it than that. And, there are a lot of people that say, oh, no, you just need hypnosis, one session, boom, knock it out. No, there are a lot of other pieces to the puzzle, or we're going to find ourselves repeating in other areas of our life some of the same patterns. Now, within Jim's program, you were introduced to hypnosis. It's a part of the process, the subconscious reprogramming. How far did that get you in terms of the style? And where were you basically at the end of the program? Because I know it made a huge difference in your life, but sometimes we need multiple
Something
tools.
extra.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely, there was a lot of tools in there. I use them on a regular basis. I actually share a lot of the tools with my clients. Some of them I'd learned when I went through my ADHD certification, but this was more in depth, and it really had this spiritual, holistic aspect to it. And so it took me to a particular place where I had gained new insight and perspectives, but I needed something more, needed, wanted, desired. I still felt like I was missing this really big piece of the puzzle. And that's like the really big distinguisher between, just coaching, or coaching and having that transformational hypnosis experience. And the hypnosis, it just really gave me the insight to delve into the deep layers of my soul, and gave me this full acceptance of self, like full whole and complete. It was remarkable.
I mean, you mentioned before we began recording that you were in this place where you hadn't fully stepped in the way that you desired. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I was still holding back in life, and part of it was, um, on the exterior, I look like a pretty put together person. I had had a lot of success in life, but I had this imposter syndrome that was there, and I couldn't quite pinpoint it. So to everybody on an external level, I looked like, I was, organized and together, and I'd had, really a successful career. I'd done successful accomplishments as an athlete. And inside, I didn't feel that way. I had this layer of shame and embarrassment because of my ADHD diagnosis. And once I went through the transformation process as a result of hypnosis, it completely, I let go of all of that. I stepped into this, as I'd said, this full acceptance of self. And, but the struggles that I had prior to that, they felt very real. They were holding me back from showing up as myself. And once I learned to let go, it truly allowed me to step into who I knew and who I felt in my core I was always destined to be. So design your destiny is that's what you've done. You've helped me to design my destiny.
So let's just set this up for the listeners a little bit. I'm curious, how many of your clients look like they have it all together on the outside, but they're carrying this heavy, exhaustive weight on the inside?
97% of them.
Easy. Same
yeah.
here. To everyone on the outside, they look like they got it all together.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for anyone to feel like this is normal life, right? You and I know that now, because you and I both don't just talk the talk, we've walked the walk. We've been the person in the chair, and we're going to get to that later. But you don't have to walk around feeling like there's this fog in your mind. There's this heaviness. Decisions don't have to be a challenge. Life can be easy. It can be fun. You can have success, and you can have all of that.
It could be simple and fun.
You can have your cake and freaking eat it too. It's not selfish. It's the way we're meant to live, because all of that other stuff is internal stress, and internal stress makes us sick.
Yeah.
Internal stress creates a lot of problems in our lives, i.e. ADHD. Why don't you share a little bit about what you know about that and why this is so important to you?
I see, I'm speaking from my own personal experience and from working with my clients. We're stuck in these repetitive patterns, and part of it is because we spend so much time stuffing down our emotions, and we spend so much time trying to do all the things or trying to have these accomplishments, and we feel like we continually fall short. And we're falling short because we have these huge expectations of how we're supposed to show up in the world. And it's like this vicious cycle of, trying to achieve a little bit of mastery in something, not having the success, and it puts us back into this feeling of unworthiness, like we're not good enough. And this cycle just continually plays out over and over and over again. And so for someone with ADHD, as a result of that, it ends up kicking the snot out of their self-esteem, and they become self-defeated, and their language, their self-talk, they're putting themselves in this box of, I'm not good enough. That's not possible for me because I have a neurodivergent brain. And I'm super passionate about this, but I call bullshit on all of that. Like I'm a hard no, because once you know what's on the other side, and once you know what's possible for you, your whole life opens up.
You said something that reminds me of one of the most important lessons. Well, there were a lot of important lessons. And it's hard to pick one single most important, but an important lesson from Jim Fortin, and that is expectations are the source of all unhappiness.
Yeah. It's the expectations that are, it's expectations from these perceptions that we have from when we're a young child. We make meaning out of things and we make these interpretations of how we're supposed to be. And neurotypical or neurodivergent brain, when we don't meet those expectations time and time again, it makes us deflated. It takes the wind out of our sails.
Yeah, and I think it's important here with the work that we do, pretty much all of the insight that we work through to help people achieve in transformation revolves around misinterpretations related to expectations. However, and this is my understanding, correct me if I am wrong, but with ADHD, because the child, the teenager, sometimes people don't realize they have this until they're an adult. You every time you get so close to the finish line and you fall short of someone else's expectations of how you should have done it, how quickly you should have done it, how focused you should have been, what it should have looked like. These are repetitive, what I call micro traumas. And some people, I think it was you that introduced me to the term big T trauma as opposed to little t trauma. But people don't realize that every time you fall short, you miss achieving that happiness, that satisfaction, that fulfillment. So what you feel is the opposite. It doesn't matter. A parent can sit there and look at a child all day long and say, oh, you shouldn't feel bad. Well, hello. Has there ever been a time in your life, mom or dad, when you wanted to do something, you wanted to get it right and you didn't, and you felt a little let down? But true or false, in an ADHD child, teen, even adult, this becomes a pile on.
110% true. And I actually think it's more detrimental as an adult, because when you're a child, you have so much more support in the home. You have your parents who are cooking for you, who are helping you. They're doing all the chores. You're under their umbrella. And as an adult, when you step out into the real world, but for someone with ADHD, a lot of times, they have these hampered executive functioning skills, so ability to focus and cognitively do step after step in the sequential, air quote, order. And so when you're an adult and you're not able to perform based upon the expectations of what society has, or how a normal, that's this really controversial word with me, how a normal person should be, it makes them feel so much shame and so much guilt, like they are not good enough. And so those traumas from, very early on, but especially as we carry into those adult years, you're bad at managing money, you're always late, you're disorganized. These are the stories, and those stories that we tell repetitiously, that's the trauma. And so what I love about hypnosis is that, it brings forth this ability to really permanently, like, to recognize the stories and to permanently shift that internal dialogue, to have that insight, and that's where the transformation happens, when we shift that inner dialogue. And so the little t trauma, everyone has the little t traumas. Those little t traumas, they dissipate. They're no longer, it's just an experience.
And I want to highlight something. When you and I are talking about hypnosis, there are a lot of different styles of hypnosis, but we're talking about transformative hypnosis, where you use a very targeted approach It's like a brain surgeon going in with a laser scalpel and removing a tumor. We go in and we look for the seed of these stories and we unplant that seed. I mean, have you ever been out in your lawn and you have the dandelions and you pull the dandelions up and the dandelions keep coming back? Well, if the seed never gets planted, the seed of misperception, the seed of the negative story, then you can shift things. And when you and I first like truly connected, you were having an internal battle of your own because you were trying to decide, do I work on me? Do I train? Do I work on me? Do I train? Because I know this will help people. Talk a little bit about your decision and how bringing this into what you do has shifted the results that you're getting for your clients.
Yeah, that was a really, I knew what hypnosis could offer from a transformative experience. And truthfully, I'm just going to say it because I have no filter, but I was desperate for that missing piece of the puzzle that I knew was there. And so, yeah, I was consulting with you about seeking out hypnosis sessions for myself. And I was also, seeing my clients in an ADHD coaching world. And I knew I'd seen so many that I could hear those deeply ingrained beliefs that weren't serving them. And coaching is brilliant. But I knew that I wanted to have a greater impact. My whole premise for becoming a coach was that I wanted to change the world. And I know that might sound out there, but I knew I wanted to have this really deep and meaningful impact. And so I ended up, as you know, I did a combination of both. I wanted to become certified in hypnosis because I knew how much of an impact it could have. And as a result, I did. I got the best of both worlds.
So I want to stop you right there for just a moment. With the training that you did with me, what was the biggest takeaway from that? Because the training in and of itself creates change.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a culmination of a lot of things. For me, one, it was the understanding of how the subconscious brain works. It was the lifelong tool of learning how to do self-hypnosis. The style of hypnosis that you taught me from Cal Banyan, it's so in depth, and it really gets to the core of, like you'd said, a laser beam focus for brain surgery with like this scalpel that's so precise. And I don't know how to summarize it in a way that does it justice, honestly. I connected with you, and you helped me to understand the hypnosis process, but you also helped me to understand what was possible for myself. And it's really this culmination of, everything that you taught me and the experience that I had personally.
Tell me about that.
I think a lot of it, it's not even, I know I was wanting change, and I was really frustrated because I was doing all the things, yet I wasn't having the result. I was still holding back. And one of my highest held values is honesty and transparency. And I like calling people on their shit. Like, that's part of what I love about coaching. And so when someone works with me in a coaching role, I want to be able to compassionately call them on their bullshit. And I found myself holding back because I didn't want to. I was always the person who was a little more outspoken, but I also sometimes chose my words a little bit delicately because I didn't want to offend somebody. And I still never want to offend anybody, but I am who I am. And so going through the hypnosis process and going through the training, I came to this place in life where I was 100% certain that I had enough knowledge. It actually, this is the greatest takeaway. One of, I got many, but one of the greatest takeaways from that, from going through the training and the hypnosis experience. It was my own personal hypnosis experience, but it instilled in me that I'm enough. I have enough knowledge. I don't sign up for courses anymore. Like, I've stopped. I'm no longer seeking. And I can't even pinpoint. It's just like all of a sudden I was just like, yeah, I have enough knowledge, and now I just need to go out into the world and share it. And that's what I do now. I've stopped doubting myself. I've stopped questioning. And I'm sure you've seen this pattern a lot with your clients, and I know I have, but like that shiny object syndrome of always looking and seeking and thinking that if I just do this, so it's almost as though if I do this, this will fix me. But that would imply that, you're not a toy, you're not broken. And I know your clients get this, and I know mine do now as well, but it's this like, I'm enough. I'm exactly, I'm creative, whole, and resourceful exactly as I am. It's a powerful place to come from.
It really, really is. And I've started adding coaching to what I do with my hypnosis, because we have to be able to get into and recognize these stories, because our stories can become a habit. And, to really, like you say, compassionately call people out when they're getting into those stories. And like, this isn't who you are anymore. We help people shift their identity, really, is what we're doing, and to create who it is that they want to be. Now, you and I chatted beforehand, and I'm just so everyone knows, I'm bringing this up because she said it was okay.
Uh-oh.
We talked about walking the walk and not just talking the talk. What was it like for you to come through the other side of experiencing a transformative hypnosis session?
Life-changing. And I know that's a pretty big claim. Throughout that experience, I took advantage of the opportunity of the wisdom and the insight that I gained to truly. So part of hypnosis, we're connecting with our subconscious brain. And that's where we hold on to all the memories and all the baggage. And when I was in hypnosis, those stories that you talked about earlier, Penny, a second ago, I was able to recognize the stories and to shift the internal dialogue. And the dialogue completely set me free. The new dialogue from the wisdom and the insight that I gained while in hypnosis. And I was hiding in my life, and all I've ever wanted to do was show up as myself. My kids and my close friends, they see me as myself, and I'm this, previously they were the only ones who would see me. I'm like a dance in the kitchen, funny, quirky, goofy. Like, my kids think I'm just the right amount of crazy. And now, like, everyone sees that side, because from that insight and wisdom that I gained, it's fully given me permission. I gave myself permission to show up as myself, and I no longer have that fear of judgment, fear of criticism, fear of acceptance. It's all gone. It's such a remarkable feeling. I didn't even I wasn't even aware it was there. Like it wasn't like I could pinpoint it.
Bingo. Bingo. It's just this feeling.
It's this
It's just
feeling,
this
but
feeling.
I didn't know what it was. But once and I'm just like, oh, wow. Like, that's what I gained from walking the talk. That's what I gained from going through hypnosis. And yeah, looking back after my hypnosis experience, I'm like, holy cow, like just, it was so prevalent. And now it's just gone. It's the most freeing, joyful way for me to be. It's just life. It flows and it's easy and it's simple. And I have these beautiful boundaries yeah, I can't say enough positive things.
Yeah. And this is why I encourage all of my graduates to find someone that they resonate with and to do these sessions, to experience, to know what it is, to feel what you are asking your clients to do. It gives you a whole new perspective.
Oh,
Most definitely.
It does, to the point. And I mean, you and I, we touched on this earlier in our conversation, but it's just, I'm drawn to, like, now it's like, I know I can offer this transformation to my clients, and I want to scream it off the rooftops, because I have done a lot of programs. I have done a lot of work, and I have been seeking, and I no longer seek. It's beautiful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And I love that, to know that, like, from the inside out, you're exactly enough just as you are. You don't need anything from outside of you
No.
to be happy, to be fulfilled, and to move through life with this sense of presence that I mean, you touched on something that I hear from so many people, like their relationships with their children change, their spouses. Sometimes people get unexpected insights around what it is they're going to do moving forward once they connect with this inner knowing. But at the same time, those people in that situation are deciding what they're no longer available for.
Mm-hmm.
What we, I have to give credit to Cal Banyan for creating this process. My program has more added to it, but the live portion of the training is 100% founded on his process and his curriculum. And this isn't someone who's taken advanced techniques in hypnosis and just cobbled something together. He's a well-educated and scientific minded person, and there is a purpose and a reason for each thing that you do, and criteria that you use to gauge before you move to the next step. It's a framework that, once you have those basics and they're solid, and especially if you're already a coach, you're bringing so much knowledge and awareness into this process that it becomes extremely powerful. And I just love that about it so much. So where is your business now? We've talked about, kind of where you started, and how you hadn't fully stepped in, and you were missing that one little thing in your life as well as business. I mean, where are you now?
Now I'm in a completely different place from, I had started, I'd been coaching, I'd been in a coaching environment, but I believe in walking the talk, and I had that little bit of doubt. My clients were getting transformations before the hypnosis experience, but they still had a lot of those, some still had limiting beliefs. And now, I work with my clients in a one-on-one environment. And I love the intimacy of it. And now business is just, it's always been a fairly natural process for me, but it's easy and it's fun. And my clients are challenged. And when they get challenged, it comes from a place of compassion and love, and they experience the growth. I've since integrated hypnosis into my practice, and I now have married the two. Coaching is great. I love the coaching aspect of it, but I'm almost considering, I'd always envisioned myself just doing one-on-one. And now, since then, I'm going to be launching a group coaching program in September, where it's going to bring in that the self-hypnosis portion of what you taught us. So teaching other people how to do the self-hypnosis so they can have that transformative experience. And so it's high touch coaching for me, but it's so much deeper because I have this strong sense of self and the knowledge to back it up. And it's beautiful. I don't, before I was only offering coaching, and then I thought, well, I'll only do hypnosis or coaching together or as singular objects or practices. I'm almost considering that the coaching and the hypnosis, they go hand in hand. If someone just does hypnosis with me, they still get the coaching aspect, but it's, as far as business now, I feel like I'm so expansive and full of possibility of what's available to my clients.
Yeah,
I know that.
I remember when we first connected, there was a lot of fear.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I wouldn't have called it fear. Now I know it's fear. You could call it fear then because you're trained to see it. Now I'm trained to see it. But then it was like, oh, I think I can do it. Like the idea of me putting myself out there, like truly in the capacity that I wanted to, I was always a little bit hesitant. I couldn't pinpoint why. And now, people hop on a call. I've never been attached to the outcome of whether or not someone chooses to work with me. That's one, I think, really positive aspect of who I've always been. But now, I don't get a lot of people that say no, because I'm so passionate about, I know I can offer them a transformation. Like I have this deep inner sense of knowing. And so, my business just continues to grow and expand. And, I'd said I was a jack of all trades, doing a lot of things really well. And my desire to become masterful in this arena is something that I'm just going to continue to put all my heart and soul into, because it meets the criteria of what I wanted. My desire was to have this significant impact, and I want to transform the way that people view themselves. I want to transform the way people think about ADHD, and it's all possible.
Newsflash, you are a master at what you do.
Well, I actually, I'm at this place where I love, like when I get off a coaching call or I get out of a hypnosis session, I am so fired up because I just love it. Like I can't, my kids know, like they can tell when they come home and, it's after school and they come home and I am lit up and they're like, did you have a hypnosis session with a client today? And I'm like, yeah, I do actually.
You always know when I've had a mind-blowing session, when you go on Facebook and you're like, you see Penny's going, oh, there she goes again. She freaking loves what she does. I love the breakthroughs that all of my clients have, but sometimes I can see just how life-changing an insight is going to be, but the client's not there yet. They've had the insight, they've had the breakthrough, they feel better, but they haven't taken the training wheels off yet to test it. So I know that between this week and the next week, there's going to be some big epiphanies and ahas about the actual impact.
One thing we didn't talk about that I will share really quickly is when I was in hypnosis, my subconscious brain and my brain was so used to keeping me safe that, I required, which is normal, right? A couple hypnosis sessions, but I was actually resistant, like not intentionally, but my subconscious, our brain, when we're in hypnosis, has the ability, like we're still completely coherent and we are a partner with the hypnosis professional that's facilitating the entire session. And it wasn't until I went into my third session that I fully was just like, okay, this is where my brain wants to go. Just allow it to go there. And that is actually where my breakthrough happened. And it was a beautiful insight for me because it gave me the ability to see also what the experience my clients will have. That there can be, maybe, not always. Some it's easy peasy. But yeah, I was a little bit resistant. And once I finally surrendered and I was like, hey, I'm here for the transformation. So let's go all in. And yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and I love how you call it resistance. It's a little bit of a protective part because
Yeah.
there's a part of us that knows that things are going to be different when
Well,
we're finished. And we love our identity. Even when our identity is not serving us, our identity is familiar.
well,
It's comfortable.
it was keeping me safe. It was
Yeah.
keeping me in this like protective little place but I didn't want to be in that place anymore. I was like, I know there's something flipping brilliant on the other side. So I just needed to step over.
Flipping brilliant. I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. So I'm so excited for you. And I've just really enjoyed watching how you took what you learned, incorporated into your coaching. I mean, you closed a high ticket client right out of the gate. I mean, you took the time and you practiced and implemented and you signed this client and got amazing results. And that brings me to something else that I think is important to mention when I talk about closing a high ticket client right out of the gate. Number one, you're an established coach. You know the people you serve extremely well. And the third piece is with the training that you took for the first time, I did it differently. I broke it down over 4 weeks so that you had time to absorb the material and to get in extra practice between our actual class meetings. And I think September of this year is the last time I will ever be offering this training as a 7 days straight, Sunday through Saturday. From now on, it will be broken down over 3 to 4 weeks because I see the benefit of the time between. Number one, it's easier for you to take a couple of days each week than to take a full 7 straight days, 10-hour days to do this. So it's less exhausting. Your brain is more ready to receive the information. You have time to practice in between. I create Facebook groups so that you can ask me questions. You can review your notes. You can sink into things and say, hey, wait a minute, did I get this right? Or did I not get it right? And all of you came out of class much more prepared and ready to even, within a week, if you guys booked sessions with each other, so you could have the experience before you went and saw a paying client, so that you have that foundation and you were solid before you ask somebody to pull out their card and pay you. Oh, what are your thoughts around that?
I've been nodding my head the whole time you've been talking. I felt so well prepared because the information and the content is so in depth, and the delivery of it allowed the opportunity to process all of the information, to practice, and to implement so that I actually felt prepared to see a client. I wasn't scared. Like when sometimes you learn something fresh out of the gates and then, you're going to go and do it and you're a little bit nervous. I didn't have that feeling with this program. And the content is thorough. And I regularly reference my manuals. I regularly ask questions. And there's so much information available and we're always growing. But, anytime I've had questions, you're readily available to answer. So are the support groups for.
That's right. We have the post Facebook group too for all the graduates of my program.
Yeah. It was the format of it. It was so well laid out that I came out feeling very well prepared as a certified professional hypnotist. And I own that title now. Like I own it. Whereas, I've done other programs in the past where I've been like, yeah, and there was that doubt. I don't have the doubt. It was really well done. Like, thank you, Penny.
So I want people to know where to find you because you are a very niche specialty and it's one that is very much needed. So where can everyone find you, be it social, website?
Yeah.
What you got?
So website is tinamadsen.com. So TinaMadsen.com. Instagram is Tina Madsen 2.0.
I love it.
I changed my Instagram handle a while ago because I was just like, I am the new and enhanced version of me. So Tina Madsen 2.0. I'm on Instagram. I'm not on there a ton. All of my business is referrals. So I've been really blessed in that, I've been fortunate in terms of not having to go out and constantly seek business. I get a lot of referrals. And I'm also on Facebook as Tina Madsen. So look me up on there, send me a direct message. I'm pretty sure you can find my phone number on there. Give me a call. Like so many people think that you can't call people. And I'm like, pick up the phone and call me if you got a question.
I love it. I love it. I'll see you guys all next week. Bye now. I hope you can feel my appreciation and gratitude for you, my listener. I would love to connect with you outside of the podcast platform. There are a few ways that you can do that. If you're not already on my email list, you can go to pennychason.com/myth and download the Big Mindset Myth PDF. Or you can go to Instagram and follow me at penny.chason. You can connect with me there. I would love to see you there. And of course, you could always head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive review of this episode. I appreciate you, and I will see you back here next week.